Alright, this week I'll get into like a quick and easy yoga flow that you can do pretty much anywhere and everywhere. So the three types of yoga that I've come across that I'm familiar with are Ashtanga, Yin, and Vinyasa. Ashtanga tends to be more strength based. Now you won't necessarily get as much strength as like you would like if you were lifting weights per se, but it's more geared towards, like I said, strength. Vinyasa is more geared towards like a cardio type of deal, and now it's not as intense as say doing like a hit session or going for like a doing trail running or something. But Vinyasa is more cardio based, as it's one where you're constantly moving from one movement to the other, and Yin is the exact opposite, where you'll sit there and you'll hold the pose for 3 to 5 minutes or so. So like the easiest one you can you can do to start off is just like an easy 12-15 minute flow or whatever. Now you do have a yoga mat. You don't need one to do it, but like they do come in handy so that you have the corner so you can kind of get like a reference for doing the poses. So you can basically just stand up here and like raise your arms up and then like do like a movement. It's called a swan dive, and what this does is it stretches like your hamstrings and everything, so which is part of your posterior chain. And like a lot of people will probably say like doing like a posterior chain work for your spine and like your hamstrings and your butt, your glutes is probably like one of if not the most important things you can do. So like from here you can basically move back into like a plank, and what's also known as like a downward dog, which this tends to be kind of like a resting pose. So then you can come down to your knees, and like what you want to do, you spread your knees and like get your toes pointed inwards towards each other, and then just come down here and put your head down, and that's what is known as child's pose. So what you can do is come over here and do like a side stretch, and what you're doing is basically getting the side of like your rib cage and your core, and then you come over to do this the other side. So you want to do like both sides to get as even as possible, and like so you're not creating any imbalances in your body. So then you can come down here and just kind of like put your arms into like a sphinx pose, and then you can just like sit here and like rotate your body, and it gets to kind of like the same kind of deal, stretch right here. So then you can, in a sense, push yourself up and get like a stretch kind of like in the back, and then move back into like another child's pose type of deal, come back up, and then like what you can do is you can step through, keep up on your toes, and then you can just rotate your foot and come up into like what's known as a warrior two pose. So what you want to do is like take your front foot and keep it in line like with the middle of your back foot. So then like you can just move this forward and lean forward, and what you can do is then do like what's known as a reverse warrior. Come back, and then like you just raise this leg up, and then you can sit here, go right back down to like just like this, and then do a stretch like this, and it kind of like helps like open everything up, and then come up here, and then what you can do is move into like what's known as like a warrior, back up a little, and like this one is great for like a balance. So, like you go into like a warrior three and kind of like do like a Superman pose with like your arms and everything. And so like you pretty much want to do like the same thing too, like with the other side. You want to like move through, kind of just do like the reverse warrior type of deal. So this way you're not creating any imbalances. Same kind of flow on both sides. And then you come up, and then you just do like the same thing only with this time like with your left foot. So this way, you're not, like I said, creating any imbalances. So you can then come down into downward dog and everything. Put your knees down, and what you can do, put the hip down and just kind of rotate your legs. So now like you can get into like also like a spinal twist, and there are like 6 different ways that your spine can move. You can move down like this, and pretty much up again like this. So that's 2 ways. So like pretty much like up and down, and then like you can move it pretty much like side to side. So you move your arms up, you put one hand on your knee, the other hand behind you, and then you just kind of twist your spine like this. Now, like your spine does have some give and play, but not a whole lot. In that, it's not like you can move your spine like back and forth completely like this. It's more kind of like a little like back and forth, a lot more subtle. So like you can with this one you move it this way, and so there's 3 and 4. So like what you're doing is basically like kind of stretching like your back a little with your spine, and then the 5 and 6 is like you're pretty much like leaning from side to side, and those are the 6 ways like your spine does. And so like I said, you can like do vinyasa. Like what I'm kind of doing is kind of like moving through each pose relatively quickly, or you could ultimately slow it down and do like what's, like I said, the yin, where you're sitting there like you could sit here and like hold this pose for like 3 to 5 minutes and get like a much more deeper stretch. So like what you can do also is like there's also like what's known as like a pigeon pose, where you're taking your one knee and putting it up like this, and you're basically like taking your other leg and kind of moving it back, and then you just lift you're lifting your back foot type of deal. So like with the camera I can't really like show it, but you basically be like get into a pose like this, and then grabbing your back foot, and what that will do is create a stretch along the front of your quad, and also like it'll help with the hips. So like you pretty much want like I said, to make sure you're getting both sides, so you're not creating any imbalances. So like you're pretty much going to be doing the same thing, like reaching back and like I'll get down. Yeah, of course it looks like I'm a little tighter on this side today, so like yeah, I'm basically doing the same thing like that. So like there's those poses. So like and of course like you can also in here do like the stereotypical like a butterfly, where you're getting like your groin muscles and everything. You just kind of like, now it doesn't matter like if you have to start off like way like a lot of these poses, it doesn't really matter where you're starting, because like everyone starts somewhere. It's just a matter of like doing this pretty much like on a daily basis. So this is something you could do for pillar number 5 with your mobility. It's just about improving every day. So like it's one of those things that I've come across, where like you improve yourself 1% every day, and by the end of the year you've improved yourself 365%. So that's the whole concept of like, it doesn't matter if you have to start like way out here, or if you're someone who can start way in here and actually get your knees all the way to the ground. It's just a matter of improving as well. So like there's also like stuff you can do on your back as well, where like you basically pull your knees in and then just pretty much rock side to side, and so this way you'll get like a good rub and stuff on like your lower back. And of course like there's also a pose known as Happy Baby, which you're grabbing your feet and basically like you're basically going back and forth, just basically like a like it says like a happy baby and everything, like you're rolling back and forth. So that's stuff you can do on your back as well. So these are moves, like I said, you can do for like you can just constantly keep going and moving through them. And so like this is just kind of like a quick overview of like some of several different movements you can do to do yoga. So like I say, you can sit there and kind of move through them real quickly to do kind of like a vinyasa kind of flow. And so it's something that I've usually been doing, and it usually takes me probably 12 to 15 minutes or so. But like I said, you could also slow it down to do like a yin type of flow, where you're, like I said, you're sitting there for like a good 3 to 5 minutes, getting in each position, so that way you're getting like a much more deeper stretch, so you can get like a pretty much into the deeper tissue and everything, and so help loosen stuff up and everything. So these are just several quick movements you could do, and that you can flow through, that you can pretty much do anywhere. So here I can do it in my living room, and pretty much take out the mat and just okay, boom. And it could also double as in a sense a training session for your pillar number 3 for training. So if for instance if you're doing the stereotypical push-pull legs split that I've done a video on, you could do that Sunday through Friday, doing the typical two workouts per muscle group and everything. And on Saturday, instead of just doing a complete sitting around being a bump on a log type of deal, what you can do is do yoga. So that way you're not only getting in recovery, pillar number 4, because you're getting a day off from lifting. You're also getting pillar number 5 in that you're doing a yoga flow. Plus you can cover on that Saturday, you can cover your training because you're still doing yoga, so you're still doing something that will be moving you forward. So it won't be necessarily as intense as lifting and everything, but it could cover all 3 pillars on one of those days where you're not necessarily lifting. And so it still gives you the psychological benefit of oh, hey, I got something done. And you're because I know sometimes when you don't make the gym, you're kind of man, I didn't get the gym, and you kind of feel bad about yourself and everything. So this has the added benefit of the psychological effect that the push-pull leg split that I just said. After going through the 6-day split on Saturday, you're still getting something in, and you're still at least on the mental side, you're feeling like you actually accomplished something, even though you weren't lifting and everything. So it was saying that it can also touch upon pillar number 6, your mindfulness. So you can kind of see how all of the pillars are kind of interconnected and everything. So this week I'm just kind of doing a quick overview of some of the movements you can do for a yoga flow. And like I said, you can do a 12-15 minute one where you're just constantly moving through the movements or whatever. Or like I said, you could do a slow it down and do more of a yin style flow, where you can also just use a phone or whatever and hit a timer and get in each pose and just sit there for like I said, 3 to 5 minutes, and then just kind of to get that deeper stretch. And it would take longer if you're doing a yin style flow, like I said, because you're doing each pose 3 to 5 minutes. But the benefit is you're getting a deeper stretch, so you kind of have to find what works better. And of course, there's also a ton of YouTube videos that you can get into that actually show a lot more different flows and everything. And of course, you can also go to the gym and actually take advantage of yoga classes that they offer. So when I was going to the YMCA, my membership would actually pay for the classes, so I took advantage, and it would do yoga classes on several occasions. So if you're not a member of YMCA, you kind of have to pay $30 or whatever. And they're also yoga studios. But if you're strapped for cash or whatever, the internet is a great thing. You can just, like I said, jump on YouTube, and you can find a bunch of videos for a bunch of different yoga flows that you can try. And so and great thing is though, you also, if you're kind of more into the analytics of stuff, you can also use the internet to kind of research the different kind of flows that I've mentioned. And of course there's probably there's more that I haven't really gotten into, and there's a slew of different things you can research. And plus you could also get in the history of yoga, how went back way to like the ancient times of India or the whole history of it and everything. So like if like I said, if you're like the analytical mind where like you want to actually dive deep and kind of get into the knowledge of the stuff, you can also do that using the internet. So or if you're just someone like me who just like, oh hey, look, yoga is actually good for me. I just kind of want to get into it and do it and everything. I don't really care about the history. I just kind of want to do it. So it works great for either or. And that's, like I said, the great thing about the internet is that you can sit here and especially on YouTube here, you can jump on, find different flows and like try different ones and like use that as a learning experience to kind of like maybe take different moves and like different ideas from different people and flows that you come across and like kind of like build your own type of deal. So this is a great thing about the internet with getting into yoga, and plus like the benefits that yoga have in like being able to stretch and give you like a added benefit of helping out with like any and all training protocol that you're doing, whether it's lifting or cardiovascular, like trail running, marathons, or like any sport you're playing. So this is like it would be great to get addition, and so that's why it's part of like pillar number 5. And you want if you're not doing yoga now, you're definitely going to want to start, because like it's one of those things like when you look back, you're going to be like a shoulda, coulda, woulda type of deal that you're going to regret not starting. And so like the phrase like the best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago, the second best time is today. So like this is why you kind of want to get started with yoga today. And so like it really doesn't cost you anything to get started with yoga either. So like you could in a sense start, like I said, covering 3 of your pillars right away with like mobility, recovery, and training by doing just yoga. So like again, this is just like a quick one to kind of show you different movements and stuff that you can kind of use to get at least started doing yoga and everything.